The jungle was alive with strange sounds. Trees towered high, their leaves wide like sails, and glowing insects flew in swarms, casting green light on the ground. The human explorer, named Daniel, pushed aside a heavy vine, his boots sinking into wet earth. He had never seen a place like this before. Every shadow seemed to hide danger. Every sound made his heart beat faster. Daniel had come to this alien world searching for rare minerals, but he soon realized the jungle was no ordinary place. The air was thick, heavy, almost alive. He carried only a small pack, a knife, and courage that was starting to shake. He had heard stories about this forest. Creatures bigger than starships, plants that could swallow a man whole. Still, he pressed on, because curiosity always burned inside him. Then through the buzzing of insects he heard it. A scream, high-pitched and desperate. It wasn't human, but it was close enough to make his chest tighten. He froze, listening again. The cry came once more, this time weaker. Daniel ran, pushing through hanging vines, thorns scratching his arms. He didn't care. Someone, or something, needed help. When he broke into a small clearing, the sight made his blood run cold. A giant snake, as thick as a tree trunk, had wrapped itself around a small alien girl. The snake's scales shone like wet metal, shifting colors with every movement. Its head rose high, eyes glowing yellow, fangs dripping venom. The girl struggled, weakly, her tiny hands clawing at the coils. Her skin was pale blue, her silver hair tangled with leaves. Her eyes, glowing faintly, locked on Daniel as if begging. The snake tightened its coils, bones creaked, and the girl gasped. Daniel's hands shook. He had only seconds. He could turn and run, save himself, or he could fight and probably die. He gritted his teeth, his heart hammering. He couldn't walk away. Not when those glowing eyes pleaded with him. He snatched a sharp rock from the ground, gripping it tight. His knife felt too small, too weak. He stepped forward, shouting to draw the beast's attention. The snake's head snapped toward him, its mouth opening wide, venom dripping in long strands. Daniel felt fear claw at his chest, but he forced himself to stand tall. He hurled the rock. It struck the snake's head with a dull crack. The beast hissed, shaking its coils. The girl cried out in pain as the pressure increased. Daniel cursed, running forward. He slashed at the snake's body with his knife. Sparks flew as the blade scraped against its iron-like scales. It wasn't enough. The beast ignored him, focusing again on its victim. "Hey, look at me," Daniel roared. He jabbed the knife again, harder this time. The blade slid between two scales, warm blood spurting. The snake hissed louder, its massive body writhing. For a moment, the coils loosened. The girl gasped, her chest rising with a desperate breath. Daniel's heart raced. He stabbed again, but the knife slipped from his sweaty hands, clattering into the mud. The snake's head lowered, its glowing eyes fixed on him now. Daniel stumbled back, breathing hard. He was unarmed. The beast opened its jaws wide, ready to strike. Then something strange happened. The girl's eyes flared brighter. Her trembling hand reached out from between the coils. Her lips moved, whispering words Daniel couldn't understand. Suddenly, faint blue light spread across her body, flickering like fire. The snake hesitated, its coils tightened once, then loosened slightly, confused by the glow. Daniel's mind raced. What was she doing? Was she calling for help? Or was this some alien trick? Either way, the moment was his chance. He lunged for his fallen knife. Grabbing it from the mud, he rolled and slashed upward, the blade cutting across the snake's mouth. The creature roared, rearing back. The coils loosened again. The girl slipped, falling to the ground, gasping for air. Daniel rushed to her side. Pulling her free, her body felt light, fragile in his arms. Her skin glowed faintly under his touch. She looked up at him with wide, shining eyes, whispering something he didn't understand. Her voice was weak, trembling, yet filled with trust. Behind them, the snake reared, furious, its massive head swaying, venom dripping onto the earth. Daniel tightened his grip on the girl. His chest rose and fell fast. He was exhausted, his knife slick with blood and mud, but he knew it wasn't over. The snake wanted both of them now. The jungle grew quiet. The insects stopped buzzing, even the trees seemed to hold their breath. Daniel stared at the glowing girl in his arms, then back at the towering serpent. A thought burned in his mind. He had saved her once, but could he survive what was coming next? And in that moment, standing in the alien jungle holding the fragile girl facing the furious beast, Daniel understood one thing. This encounter was only the beginning. The snake hissed, its giant body shifting. Across the clearing, the ground shook with every movement. Daniel held the alien girl close, his knife trembling in his hand. He could feel her shallow breaths against his chest. Her glowing eyes stayed fixed on him, weak but full of something he could not understand. The serpent's head swayed, watching, them waiting. Its scales shimmered in the faint green light of glowing insects. Its yellow eyes locked onto Daniel. He felt his throat tighten. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but the girl in his arms clutched at his shirt, her tiny fingers trembling. She was helpless. If he ran, she would die. Daniel lowered her carefully against the roots of a tree. "Stay here," he whispered, though he doubted she could even hear him. She looked at him with wide eyes, whispering something faint in her alien tongue. He didn't understand, but he understood the fear. The snake struck. Daniel threw himself aside, the fangs slamming into the ground where he had stood. Dirt and roots exploded upward. He rolled and swung the knife with all his strength. The blade scraped the side of the serpent's jaw, leaving a thin cut. The monster hissed, enraged. Its tail lashed out, striking Daniel's side. He flew back, crashing against a tree. Pain exploded through his ribs. For a moment, the world blurred. His ears rang. He struggled to breathe. The knife was still in his grip, slick with mud. He forced himself to stand, groaning. The snake turned toward the girl, its coils dragging across the earth. Daniel's heart pounded. He couldn't let it reach her. With a roar, he charged, slashing at the coils. The blade sank between scales, warm blood spurting. The serpent twisted, its tail whipping violently. Daniel ducked just in time, the strike missing his head by inches. He stabbed again, this time deeper. The snake shrieked, pulling back, its body thrashed, knocking down trees like twigs. The girl coughed weakly, her silver hair spread across the roots. Daniel glanced back at her. Her body shimmered faintly, a soft glow spreading from her chest. Her lips moved, whispering words again. Daniel couldn't understand, but he felt the air shift. The ground seemed to vibrate under his boots. The serpent lunged again. Its fangs snapped just inches from his face. Daniel gritted his teeth, driving the knife upward into its mouth. The blade tore through soft flesh, blood sprayed, hot and metallic. The snake roared, its massive body coiling violently. Daniel was thrown backward again, crashing to the ground. He gasped, his arms shaking. His body screamed with pain. The knife slipped from his hand. He tried to crawl toward it, but the serpent's tail slammed down, trapping him. The weight crushed his chest. His ribs burned. He could barely breathe. The snake's head lowered slowly, its glowing eyes staring into his. Daniel's vision blurred. He knew this was the end. Then a hand touched his arm. Warmth surged through him. He turned his head. The girl had crawled closer, her glowing hand pressed against his skin. Her eyes shone bright now. Her voice was stronger, whispering faster. Daniel felt heat rush through his veins. His pain dulled. His strength returned. It was as if fire burned inside him. With a roar, he pushed against the serpent's tail. To his shock, he moved it just enough to roll free. The snake recoiled, confused. Daniel grabbed the knife, his hand steady now. He stood tall, breathing hard. His body felt different, stronger, faster. The serpent attacked again. But this time, Daniel moved like lightning. He dodged to the side, his blade flashing. The knife sliced across its body, leaving a deep wound. The beast howled, twisting. Daniel pressed on, striking again and again, his movements guided not only by his own will, but by the strange power flowing from the girl. The jungle lit with their struggle. Trees shattered, vines tore apart, blood sprayed across the roots. The serpent thrashed, knocking Daniel to his knees. He looked back. The girl was glowing brighter. Her small body shaking, she was giving him her strength. "Stop," Daniel muttered. "You'll die." But she only smiled weakly. her lips trembling as she whispered more words. The warmth inside him grew stronger. His vision sharpened. Every detail of the serpent's body was clear. Its wounds, its weakness. With a final cry, Daniel lunged, driving the knife deep into the serpent's neck. The blade slid between scales, piercing its core. The beast screamed, its body writhing violently. Daniel held on, his muscles burning. The snake twisted, then fell with a thunderous crash, shaking the earth. Its coils loosened, sliding lifelessly across the clearing. Daniel collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. His body trembled. The knife slipped from his bloody hands. He turned to the girl. She was still glowing faintly, her chest rising slowly. Her silver eyes locked on him, filled with relief. He crawled toward her, pulling her into his arms. She was light, fragile, but her glow warmed his chest. "What did you do?" he whispered. She touched his face, her fingers cold, and whispered, "Yours." Now, Daniel froze, staring at her. His heart pounded. What did she mean? What power had she just given him? The jungle was silent again, except for the faint sound of her breathing and the pounding of his heart. He held her close, staring at the fallen serpent, knowing this fight had only begun. The jungle was quiet again, but the silence felt heavy. Daniel sat on the damp ground, his chest rising and falling quickly. The giant snake lay stretched out across the clearing, its body torn and still. He could hardly believe it was over. His knife was broken, his arms bruised and bloody, yet somehow he was still alive. But the reason was lying in his arms. The alien girl, small and fragile, her silver hair tangled with dirt and leaves. Her pale blue skin glowed faintly under the moonlight that slipped between the trees. Daniel stared at her, his heart pounding. He had seen her whisper something. He had felt her touch. He had felt the fire surge inside him. That strength had not been his alone. The girl's eyes fluttered open. They were silver too, glowing faint like starlight. She looked at him weakly and whispered in a trembling voice, "You touched me. Now it belongs to you." Daniel frowned, confused. "What belongs to me?" he asked softly. His voice cracked with exhaustion. The girl reached out, her hand pressing lightly against his chest. A warmth spread through him again, not painful, but deep, steady. It filled his bones, his heart, even his breath. He felt stronger, sharper, his wounds ached less. He blinked in shock. What did you do to me?" She coughed weakly, struggling to sit up. Daniel helped her, resting her against the roots of a tree. She looked fragile, yet her eyes held something ancient. "My kind," she whispered, her words slow and careful. "We are not warriors, but we carry energy, spirit, life force." She pressed her hand tighter against his chest. "When I gave it, it linked to you. Now you carry part of me." Daniel stared at her, the words heavy in his mind. Linked. Was that what he had felt in the fight? That rush of power, that speed? He shook his head. "But why give that to me? I'm just a stranger." Her lips trembled into the smallest smile. "Because you did not run." The words sank deep. He had nearly died fighting for her, and she had trusted him with something so precious he could barely understand it. Daniel swallowed hard, his throat dry. He looked at her glowing hand, her fragile body. "Will it hurt you giving me this?" She lowered her gaze, her voice barely a whisper. "Only if you waste it." The silence of the jungle pressed down around them. The air felt heavier now. Daniel heard faint noises in the distance, branches snapping, the low hum of voices. He stiffened. Something was coming. The girl seemed to notice too. Her small body tensed, her glow flickering like a dying flame. "Who's out there?" Daniel whispered, raising his broken knife. The girl's eyes widened, fear flashing across her face. "Hunters," she breathed. They follow me." Daniel's jaw clenched. He had already fought a monster, and now there were more threats. He stood, keeping himself between her and the dark trees. His legs shook from exhaustion, but that strange power inside him burned, steady and strong. It gave him courage. The glow around the girl dimmed further. Her head rested back against the roots. "You must leave me," she whispered. "If they catch you with me, they will kill you too." Daniel knelt down, gripping her hand. "Not a chance." His voice was rough but firm. He had already risked everything to save her once. He wasn't about to walk away now. Her silver eyes shimmered, almost like tears. "You don't understand," she whispered. "I was not meant to live free. I was made, tested, owned. They will never stop until they take me back." Daniel's breath caught. He looked at her small body, the faint glow of her skin. She wasn't just some wandering girl, she was something more. Something stolen. Something hunted. The snapping of branches grew louder, closer. Daniel gripped his knife tighter. His eyes scanned the jungle shadows. The power inside him flared, his senses sharper, his heart calmer. It was as if her spirit was steadying him, guiding him. "Listen to me," Daniel said firmly, turning to her. "I don't care who they are, I don't care what they want. They're not taking you, not while I'm still breathing." The girl stared at him, her lips parting in shock. No one had ever spoken for her like that. No one had ever stood between her and danger. She had always been an experiment, a possession. Yet here was this human, bruised, broken, and still willing to fight for her. Her glow flickered brighter. For a moment her trembling hand lifted, touching his cheek. "Then we are bound," she whispered. Her voice carried something final, like a promise. Daniel's chest tightened. He didn't know what being bound meant, but he could feel it, deep in his blood. Something had changed forever. The sound of footsteps grew louder. Shapes moved in the shadows of the trees, glowing weapons in their hands. Daniel rose, standing tall. The knife in his grip was small, but the fire in his chest burned brighter than ever. He looked down at the girl, her eyes watching him with fragile trust. The hunters were almost here. The fight with the snake had only been the beginning, and Daniel knew whatever this hidden gift was, he would need every drop of it to survive what was coming. The jungle trembled with the sound of approaching footsteps. Daniel stood over the alien girl, gripping his broken knife. His body screamed with exhaustion, but the strange fire inside him still burned. It was not just adrenaline. It was something deeper, something that had come from her. Through the dark vines and glowing leaves, shapes appeared. 4 figures stepped into the clearing, their armor black and shining. Each carried a long spear that hummed with a faint blue light. Their helmets hid their faces, but their voices echoed cold and sharp. "There she is," one hissed, pointing the spear at the girl. "The runaway, alive and glowing." Daniel moved, blocking their view. His stance was shaky but determined. "Stay back," he growled. The hunters stopped for a moment, then laughed, their voices filled with cruel amusement. "Look at this," another said. "A human, standing in the way of our prize." He tilted, his spear. "Move, little man, and we'll let you crawl away." Daniel tightened his grip. His heart raced, but he refused to move. "She's not yours," he said firmly. His voice echoed louder than he expected. His body felt stronger, his chest steady. The girl's gift pulsed inside him like a second heartbeat. The hunters stepped closer. The jungle air grew heavier. The girl coughed, her silver eyes wide with fear. "Daniel," she whispered weakly, "you cannot fight them. They are trained, armed, stronger than you." Daniel glanced at her and shook his head. Stronger maybe, but not braver. The first hunter lunged, his spear flashing blue. Daniel's body moved before his mind could think. His arm swung, blocking the strike with the broken knife. Sparks exploded. The force should have knocked him down, but instead he stood firm. His muscles burned with power, his blood racing like fire. The hunter stepped back, shocked. "Impossible," he growled. Daniel exhaled. He felt every sound in the jungle, every breath of the hunters, every heartbeat of the girl behind him. The bond was alive, it sharpened his senses, guided his movements. It was as if she was inside him, lending her strength to every motion. The second hunter attacked from the side. Daniel spun, faster than he thought possible. His blade struck the spear shaft, snapping sparks into the air. He twisted, slamming his fist into the hunter's chest. The armored figure flew back, crashing into the roots of a tree. Daniel froze, staring at his own hand. He had never been that strong. He turned to the girl. Her glow flickered brighter for a moment, her lips trembling into a faint smile. "Our bond," she whispered. "You feel it now?" But the hunters were not finished. Two of them circled him, their spears spinning. They moved like predators, trained and merciless. Daniel's heart hammered. Sweat dripped down his face. Still, the fire inside kept him standing tall, and spear darted forward. Daniel dodged. The second swung low. He leapt back, his movements smooth, faster than before. He struck again, his knife slashing across a hunter's leg. The alien howled, falling to the ground. The other hunter roared, striking with full force. Daniel caught the spear shaft with his bare hand. His grip locked like steel. The hunter's eyes widened behind the helmet. "What are you?" Daniel shoved the spear aside and slammed his knee into the hunter's chest. The armored figure collapsed, gasping. Daniel turned, ready for more, but then he felt it. His chest burned hotter, the glow spreading under his skin. His vision blurred. The girl cried out, "Stop! You're using too much, you'll burn!" He stumbled, his knees shaking. The fire inside threatened to consume him. He dropped to one knee, breathing hard. The last standing hunter grinned, raising his spear high. "The bond is unstable, he cannot control it." The spear swung down, but before it struck, the girl's voice rang out, sharp and clear. Her silver eyes blazed, her hands lifted weakly, and a wave of blue light shot from her body. The blast struck the hunter, throwing him backward. His armor smoked, his spear clattering into the mud. The clearing fell silent. All 4 hunters lay broken, groaning in pain. Daniel gasped for breath, his body trembling. The fire inside dimmed, settling like embers. He turned to the girl, stunned. What did you just do?" Her chest rose and fell slowly, her body shaking. "I gave you too much, the bond nearly broke. I had to steady it." Daniel knelt beside her, brushing dirt from her hair. "You saved me again," he whispered. She looked at him with faint eyes. "No, we saved each other." Daniel swallowed hard. His hands trembled as he held her close. The jungle was quiet, the hunters defeated for now. But he knew more would come, and each time, the danger would grow. The bond had awakened, and with it, a power neither of them fully understood. As the girl closed her eyes, leaning into his arms, Daniel looked out into the dark jungle. He felt the fire pulsing steady inside him, and he whispered to himself, "I don't know what's happening to us, but I'll protect you no matter what." The bond was no longer a secret. It was alive, it was dangerous, and it had only just begun. The clearing was littered with fallen enemies. The 4 armored hunters groaned on the ground. Their spears broken and smoking, Daniel stood over them, his chest rising and falling fast. The fire inside him pulsed steady, not as wild as before, but enough to keep him standing tall. The alien girl leaned weakly against the roots of a tree, her silver eyes glowing faint. For a moment, Daniel thought it was over. He thought maybe the hunters would retreat, but the jungle had other plans. From the shadows came more footsteps, slow and heavy. The leaves shook, birds scattered, and the ground trembled under the weight of many boots. Daniel's grip tightened. On his broken knife, his throat dry, his eyes scanned the dark edges of the clearing. One by one, more hunters stepped into view. Not 4 this time, but 10, maybe 12. Their armor gleamed black, their spears humming brighter. Their helmets reflected the faint blue glow from the girl's body. The leader among them was taller, his armor heavier, etched with red markings. He carried not just a spear, but a long blade that hummed with energy. His voice was deep, calm, and cruel. "So, the little experiment hides with a human. How amusing. You defeated my scouts, but you will not defeat us." Daniel stepped forward, placing himself between the girl and the new threat. His body ached, but the fire inside him flared, steady. "You're not taking her," he growled. The leader tilted his head. "You don't even understand what she is. She is property, not a person. She was built to serve, not to run." The girl shook her head, whispering weakly, "Lies." Her Small voice trembled. I was born, not made. I am not their tool. Daniel's fists clenched. His anger burned hotter than the fire in his veins. He shouted, I don't care what you call her. She's not yours. The leader raised his blade, pointing it at Daniel. Then you die with her. The hunters moved in, their steps steady, spears crackling with blue light. Daniel's heart raced. His knife was dull and cracked. He had no armor, no training. Yet the fire inside his body surged, his vision sharpened. He could see every hunter's movement, every breath. The first two attacked. Daniel leapt aside, faster than he thought possible. His knife slashed across one's arm, sparks flying. The second swung low. Daniel kicked hard, knocking the hunter back. His strength startled even himself. The girl, still weak, raised her trembling hands. A faint glow pulsed from her. Daniel felt it immediately. The fire inside him flared brighter. His body steadied, the exhaustion fading. It was their bond. She was feeding him again. 3 hunters attacked together. Daniel spun, blocking one spear with his knife, twisting to punch another in the chest. Armor cracked under the strike. The third stabbed, the spear just grazing his side. He hissed in pain but struck back. Slashing across the hunter's helmet, sparks exploded. The figure collapsed. Still more came. The leader stayed back, watching calmly, his voice carried across the clearing. Interesting. The bond is stronger than expected, but you cannot hold it forever, human. It will eat you alive. Daniel ignored him. His breaths came fast, but the fire kept him moving. The girl's glow flickered, weak but steady. He could feel her determination through their strange link. She wanted him to fight. She wanted him to live. Another hunter lunged. Daniel caught the spear shaft, twisting hard. The weapon snapped in two. He slammed the broken end into the hunter's chest, dropping him to the ground. 2 more attacked at once. Daniel rolled, sweeping one's legs out, stabbing the other in the shoulder. His body moved with speed and power that didn't feel human. But, with each strike, he felt the heat burn hotter inside him. His chest ached, his veins fire. The girl cried weakly, Stop, Daniel. You're burning too fast. You'll break. Daniel gritted his teeth. He couldn't stop. Not now. Not when so many enemies stood between her and freedom. He roared, charging forward, slashing wildly. His strikes faster, stronger. The hunters fell back, shocked. Finally, the leader stepped forward, his blade humming with power, his eyes locked on Daniel. Enough games, he said coldly. Face me. Daniel's chest burned. His body trembled. He barely stood, yet the fire refused to let him fall. He looked at the girl. Her glowing eyes met his, and for a moment he felt calm, steady. She whispered one word. Together. Daniel nodded. He gripped his broken knife. Raising it, the leader charged, their weapons clashing. Sparks exploded across the clearing. The force shook the ground. Daniel staggered, but the fire inside him flared. His arms held strong, his eyes sharp. The duel had begun, and the fate of both human and alien girl now rested on this bond. The clearing shook with the clash of weapons. Daniel met the leader's glowing blade with his broken knife. Sparks burst in the air. The sound echoed through the jungle like thunder. The other hunters stayed back now, watching their commander fight the strange human who dared to defy them. Daniel's arms trembled. The leader's strength was immense, each strike heavy as stone, forcing Daniel to block or dodge. His knife cracked further with every clash, but the fire inside his body burned hot. It pushed him forward, guided his hands, his movements faster, sharper. The alien girl, leaning weakly against the roots, kept her eyes on him. Her body glowed faint. Her lips moved in whispers. Every word made Daniel's strength steady, his heart beat in rhythm with hers. Their bond was alive. The leader swung his blade in a wide arc. Daniel ducked low, rolling aside. The energy blade tore a tree in half behind him. The trunk fell, crashing into the mud. Daniel leapt forward, stabbing with his broken knife. The blade struck the leader's chest armor, sparks flying, but it barely pierced. The leader snarled, striking back with a crushing kick. Daniel flew backward, crashing hard into the ground. Pain shot through his ribs, his vision blurred. He forced himself to rise. His body felt heavy, but the fire refused to die. You cannot win, human, the leader growled, stepping closer. His blade hummed with deadly energy. She is ours. You are nothing. Daniel wiped blood from his mouth. His jaw tightened. He stood tall again, his voice rough but steady. She's not yours. She's not property. She's alive. And I'll fight until my last breath to keep her free. The leader tilted his head, almost amused. Then you'll die. The blade struck again. Daniel blocked, sparks exploding. The shock forced him to his knees, his knife cracked in half, leaving him nearly unarmed. He gasped, staring at the broken weapon in his hand. The girl cried out, her voice breaking. Daniel! Her hands lifted weakly, her glow brightened. A pulse of energy flowed from her chest to his. Daniel's veins lit like fire. His body surged with new power, stronger than before. His wounds sealed. His muscles steadied. He rose slowly, his eyes glowing faint silver. The leader stepped back in surprise. The bond. Impossible. She gave you everything. Daniel looked at the broken knife in his hand. It glowed faint now, as if the girl's power ran through it too. He gripped it tighter, feeling unshakable. His voice echoed with strength. We fight together. He charged, faster than the eye could follow. The leader swung his blade, but Daniel slipped past, slashing across his arm. Sparks burst. The leader staggered. Daniel struck again, a punch to the chest, armor cracking. The other hunters gasped, watching their commander falter. The leader roared, striking with fury. Their weapons clashed again, energy against fire. The ground cracked under their feet. The jungle shook with each impact. Daniel pressed forward, his strikes wild but powerful. Guided by the girl's energy, the leader swung overhead. Daniel caught the blade with both hands. The energy seared his skin, but he held firm. His eyes glowed, his chest burned with her power. With a cry, he twisted, shoving the blade aside. His knife stabbed deep into the leader's side. The alien cried out in rage and pain, but the leader was not finished. His hand shot forward, grabbing Daniel's throat. Lifting him high, Daniel gasped. His knife slipped from his grip. The fire inside flickered, fading. The leader sneered. Your bond makes you strong, but it also makes you weak. Without her, you are nothing. The girl screamed, pushing herself from the roots. Her body glowed brighter than ever. She stumbled forward, her hands shaking. No, she cried. He is not nothing. Her glow exploded. A wave of blue light shot across the clearing. It struck both Daniel and the leader. Daniel's body surged again with unstoppable force. His hands broke free from the leader's grip. His eyes shone bright silver. With a roar, he grabbed his knife from the ground and drove it upward. The blade pierced deep into the leader's chest. The alien gasped, his eyes wide, his energy blade flickered out. He staggered back, dropping to his knees. The jungle went silent. The other hunters froze, staring in shock as their commander fell. Daniel stood tall, his chest glowing faint, his breaths heavy. The girl collapsed to her knees, her glow dimming. Daniel rushed to her, catching her before she hit the ground. She looked up at him weakly, her eyes soft. You fought, not alone, she whispered. Her hand touched his cheek. Together. Daniel's throat tightened. He held her close, his body trembling from both exhaustion and relief. The leader lay motionless, the other hunters stunned. The bond had turned, the tide. But as Daniel looked at her fading glow, he knew the fight had cost her more than she could bear. Her strength had nearly burned away, and the battle was not over yet, because even with the leader fallen, the hunter's eyes began to glow with rage, and Daniel realized the final threat was still to come. The clearing smelled of smoke and blood. The leader of the hunters lay fallen in the mud, his lifeless body glowing faint where Daniel's blade had struck. Around them, the other hunters stood frozen, their helmets turned toward the site of their commander's defeat. Daniel held the alien girl in his arms, her glow weak, her breathing shallow. But silence did not last. The hunters lifted their spears again, rage burning in their voices. Kill them both, one shouted. For the commander, Daniel staggered to his feet, holding the girl close, his broken knife hung at his side. His body screamed with exhaustion, every muscle ached, his chest still burned from the fire of the bond. But he would not back down. His eyes locked on the advancing hunters. The girl's hand pressed against his chest, her voice barely a whisper. You cannot fight them all. Not like this. Daniel looked down at her, shaking his head. I'll try. Her silver eyes shimmered, with tears. No, she whispered. You will die. And I cannot let that happen. Before Daniel could ask what she meant, her glow brightened suddenly, brighter than ever before. His body shook as the warmth inside him surged, blazing like wildfire. He gasped, his knees nearly buckling. The girl's entire body glowed like a star in his arms. What are you doing? He demanded, panic rising. She smiled faintly, her weak hand cupping his face. Giving you all of me. Daniel froze. His chest burned as if the fire was consuming him. No, stop. You'll die, he begged, but her eyes shone with calm. If one of us must fall, let it be me, not you. The hunters charged, their spears glowing blue. The ground shook with their march. Daniel's body lit with silver fire. His broken knife in his hand gleamed as if reborn. The girl's light poured into him, flooding every bone, every breath. He roared, the sound shaking the jungle. His movements were no longer human. He shot forward with blinding speed, his blade sliced through Spear's armor, and bodies in a storm of sparks and light. The hunters fell one by one, unable to keep up, their weapons shattered, their voices crying out in shock and fear. The jungle glowed with fire and blue sparks. Daniel's body burned like a living flame. He was unstoppable. His strikes shook the earth, his eyes glowed silver. The hunters realized too late that they were not fighting a man, but something far greater. When the last hunter fell, silence returned. Daniel stood in the center of the clearing, his chest heaving, his knife dripping with blood, his body glowing, faint silver. In his arms, the girl lay still, her glow fading. No, stay with me, Daniel whispered, falling to his knees. He shook her gently. Her silver eyes opened just a little. She looked at him weakly, her lips trembling. You are free now. Tears filled his eyes. He shook his head. Not without you. You gave me your life. You gave me everything. Her faint smile touched his heart. You gave me something too, she whispered. You gave me choice. You gave me freedom. Her voice faded, her glow dimming until only a faint shimmer remained. Daniel held her tighter. His chest ached, his heart shattered. The bond still burned faintly inside him, but weaker now, like fading embers. He lowered his head, pressing his forehead against hers. Don't leave me, please, don't leave me. And then something unexpected happened. The glow flickered, brighter, not gone. Her eyes opened again, wider this time. The shimmer spread from her chest, wrapping around Daniel. The bond, she whispered. You gave me strength too. You shared with me. Daniel's breath caught. Her glow brightened slowly, steady, not burning out but stabilizing. Their bond was not one way. It was shared. His own life force flowed into her, balancing what she had given. Together they glowed, both alive, both stronger. The jungle fell silent. The hunters lay defeated. The leader gone, the air still. The girl leaned into Daniel's arms, whispering softly, We are one now. No chains, no hunters. Only us. Daniel held her close, his tears falling into her silver hair. His voice broke as he whispered back, Together. The stars above broke through the jungle canopy, shining on them. A human and an alien girl, bound not by chains or power but by choice and trust. The fire in his chest no longer felt like burning. It felt like life, like hope. Far away, more hunters might come, more battles might wait. But in that moment, Daniel knew he was no longer alone, and neither was she. The jungle would remember the night an alien girl gave everything for a human, and the human gave it back. Their bond stunned all who saw it, and it was only the beginning of their story,